Conservative MP Maxime Bernier has left the Conservative Party and is now apparently planning to launch his own Conservative Party. So, this is a piece of news that could either be gigantic or it could be nothing, depending on how it all plays out. But first, before I get to that piece of news that happened today, let me first break down the timeline of events that led to this. So, late last year, Bernier was planning to release a book, and in that book was a paragraph on how current Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer essentially used fake conservatives to win the leadership bid. So he had organized a powerful lobby of Quebec dairy farmers who were against Maxime Bernier to vote for him, even though they weren't necessarily conservatives. So by doing that, Andrew Scheer was able to defeat Bernier by a very slim margin. Now, the Conservative Party, of course, was not happy about this chapter of Maxime Bernier's book. So Bernier ultimately pulled the book that accused Scheer of using fake conservatives to win the leadership. And then, several months later, Andrew Scheer decided to drop Maxime Bernier from a critic position after the book chapter on supply management was posted online. So that is sort of the backstory to this. And then this week and part of last week, Maxime Bernier began tweeting out some weird things. Some very xenophobic, bigoted, racist tweets that were all dog whistles, but clearly he was speaking about the destruction that immigration, in his mind, has caused to Canada, even though Canada has a long history of multiculturalism and our entire society is built on multiculturalism. But I don't want to get back into that debate. I have a whole video on those tweets. But here's one of the tweets to give you an example. I hereby officially declare the death of political correctness in Canada. And he tweeted that out in a politically correct bilingual tweet, just to show you the absurdity of Maxime Bernier. Now, he wasn't always like this. Honestly, before or while he was running for conservative leadership, I thought that the conservatives would have been smart to pick Bernier as their leader, as he was sort of a more libertarian style candidate. And even though I don't agree with libertarians on a lot, he at least had a clear vision. Whereas Andrew Scheer was simply playing to, I was going to say playing to a base, but not even playing to a base. Just Andrew Scheer has no message. So that's the weird part about Andrew Scheer. His whole thing is simply anti-Trudeau. Anything Trudeau does, he's against Trudeau. And look, I have many criticisms of Justin Trudeau, but to simply not have your own vision and your whole platform is based on being anti-Trudeau is just kind of weird. And clearly, Maxime Bernier was not happy about that. So this week, after the leadership, the conservative leadership, started to reveal a more hard-lined immigration policy, Maxime Bernier didn't seem too happy about that and tweeted this out. So after disavowing me last week for raising the issue and telling me to shut up, my colleagues have just realized that this is something Canadians find important and want to hear about. Great example of strong leadership. So finally, after all this, after it seems that Maxime Bernier was clearly unhappy being under Andrew Scheer in the Conservative Party, this happened. Maxime Bernier tears strip-off conservatives as he quits the party. Shit just got real. This could be huge news if it pans out the way I think it'll pan out. But before I get to that, let me break down some of what Maxime Bernier said. So, the Beauce MP, who narrowly lost the Conservative leadership contest last year, said Scheer and the party's caucus have, quote, abandoned Conservative voters and have nothing of substance to offer as an alternative to the governing Liberals. The party is afraid to articulate any coherent philosophy to support its position. Every public declaration is tested with polls and focus groups, Bernier told reporters in Ottawa early Thursday afternoon. The result is a bunch of platitudes that don't offend anybody, but also don't mean anything and don't motivate anyone. Andrew Scheer keeps talking about his positive conservative vision, but nobody knows what that vision is. Bernier said he intends to create his own party to fight the 2019 election. Okay, now, how is this all going to play out? So like I said at the beginning, this could either be large news or gigantic news, or it could be nothing. I lean more towards this will have an effect. Now, whether it will have an effect on the 2019 election is a little less clear because, so the way elections work here, if you're not in Canada, Bernier can't simply launch a party on his own and expect it to do well. He needs other members to be in that party. He needs other MPs, which means he either needs conservative MPs to cross over into his new party, or he needs people across the country to run in ridings all across the country into his new party and win their elections. Now, the latter option there is less likely. It's hard for new parties to gain traction in ridings. But if conservative MPs start crossing over to Bernier's party, then we have a real game on our hands. We have some real change happening. So what that could end up doing is split the conservative vote, which would be a little more fair to the left side of the aisle, as right now the progressive vote is split between the Greens, the Liberals, and the NDP. So conservatives, by and large, have been voting as a bloc. But if you have a second party in there, the Conservative Party has no shot. Most Canadians lean liberal or progressive. But the Conservative Party has been able to win a lot of these ridings because of the split in the vote. And that would be less of an issue if we had a proper system, if we had a proper electoral reform and moved towards a proportional representation system where that wouldn't be the case. But we don't. We have first past the post, which means that vote splitting does matter. It does affect these ridings. It does affect these elections. So my hope here is that Bernier is successful, because it would mean that the NDP have a much better shot, or the Greens even, have a much better shot at winning more seats in the next election. Now, let me show you what the, so far, what the Conservative leadership reaction is to what Maxime Bernier is doing. So this is from CBC News Alerts. Andrew Scheer says Maxime Bernier never got over losing leadership race and put his personal profile ahead of his principles. Conservative leader says Bernier never brought any of the ideas he claims to stand for to caucus. Okay, first up, it is clear that Andrew Scheer is not happy, and I don't blame him. Maxime Bernier right now has the potential to split his base in half. Now, of course, as I said, he would need MPs to cross over to his new party, and it remains to be seen if that happens. But regardless of all that, there is now an actual debate between two conservative parties on the national level. So we do have a Libertarian Party here, but it doesn't have much traction. But Bernier being in Parliament, being a sitting MP, and splitting off from the party and starting his own party, that gets national attention. So he has the potential here to grow a party if there are candidates out there or MPs out there willing to cross over to that party. Now, the bottom line here is this is just good news if you are a Liberal voter, an NDP voter, or a Green voter, because now there is the potential for a split in the vote on the Conservative side, meaning there is a better chance at a Liberal, an NDP, or a Green winning their seat. So all around, this is just great news and fantastic drama.